Hey traders, Raghee here, and we're going to take a look at soybeans here in this update. And what we're talking about in soybeans is something we've talked about for a while in the premium videos and in the chat room, and that is continuing to play the ag unwind, which is something we've been doing now for about 2.5 months, or since about the 920 level on beans. Now, I don't think this has quite the same potential follow through, but it's a short nonetheless. So let's talk about the short and let's talk about the zone. So really what I'm doing here is differentiating the bottom of the zone from the top of the zone. Now, there's really two levels that I'm focused on. One is trading the area between about 861.5 to about 856. That zone would be a terrific place to either get long puts in soybeans or short soybean futures. The other level is the value area high for the month of May, which is this red line right here. It's a volume derived level predicated on the point of control and accounts for 70% of the volume. Just basically 70% of the volume has occurred in this area right in here. All right. And we're looking to short the upper end of that. Now let's talk a little bit more about the specifics of beans. And for that, I'm going to switch over from the toss charts over to TradeStation and show you that, what kind of capital are we talking about to trade soybeans as we focus on the market moving up into the zone. It's about a $1,900 initial margin requirement. The maintenance margin is about $1,700. This is not a day trade, which is why I remind folks, if you're taking overnight trades and you're uncomfortable with, laying out the initial margin times 2 or 3 contracts, think about using puts in this market in lieu of shorting the underlying futures. So we get long puts. And I'll tell you, one of the things that's pretty popular amongst the Simpler Futures members is when we're going overnight with trades, trading the options on the futures. I was on TD Ameritrade this morning talking about crude oil and a couple of other markets. And, one of the things we said is, hey, can futures options be a viable alternative to, say, shorting? In this case, I was talking about crude, which we'll talk more about in the premium video. And I said, yeah, I want to short crude, but since crude can be very volatile, and I don't know if we might end up with this dramatic move to the upside, I've positioned myself with puts in both July and August crude. So same idea here, and that's something I want to remind folks. You can trade futures, but use the futures options. When I'm day trading today, and we'll go over some of the day trades that we took this morning. Pretty nice morning of day trades, by the way. Short of the Dow, short of the ES for the first half of the day. And we'll talk about separating first half of the day from second half of the day, because boy, oh boy, did we have some kind of rally latter half of the day, but it doesn't mean that we weren't able to take out a really nice little move here. Really simple. Early part of the day, we really could have called it a day by about 11 o'clock, which is really nice. But anyway, think about if you're day trading, you can use minis and micros, and yes, you can use futures too, but the nimbleness and day trading margin makes day trading pretty affordable for most folks. But once you start getting out to the end of day trades, once you start talking about end of day beans or end of day crude, it's a different kind of outlay of your capital. It's a different amount of money being locked up for the position. I've got a nice short in crude. Some of the members have got puts in crude as opposed to shorting as opposed to shorting crude oil. They bought puts because otherwise this is about a $4,800 contract. Those folks who bought puts in CL, it's a different amount of capital that they have to put out. All right, so just something to think about, alternatives, and again, the main point of this was we're looking at that short in beans, but being open to puts in beans. Okay, hope that helped. We ran across a lot of markets and a lot of different ideas, and I'll see you in the next update.